New location, who dis? Brief life update to say that we have moved once again. This time, hopefully we'll be settled for 12 months because we managed to secure ourselves a rental. Woo! We are right next to quite a busy intersection, so ever more so I am pushed to get a better microphone. I am investigating some better audio, most likely lavalier, a little clip-on microphone to wear that'll hopefully just pick up my voice even when there is so much noise around. Anyway, we've been here for 2 weeks now. We are mostly settled, just still unpacking. We have a spare room that everything that hasn't been unpacked or doesn't have a place yet has been thrown into. So at some point I will be going through and sorting out that room, especially because I'm hoping to set up a little studio space for me to record my videos. For now, we are sitting at the dining table, but soon, hopefully, I'll have a little studio. As you probably saw by the title, today's video is a alteration video. Is alteration one of the magic classes in Skyrim? Alteration spells? It sounds familiar. Well, that's what we're going to do today, an alteration spell on this dress. I've had this dress a really long time and I've always really loved the colours and the pattern, and I really liked the style until it lost its structure. It's actually a temped dress in a size 10. It doesn't look like a size 10, does it? Look at it. Nowadays, size 10 would be half as big as this, like, honestly. Anyway, so now it just hangs off me really baggy, and the sleeves don't stay up on my shoulders, which is really frustrating. So I had the idea, rather than just taking it in and keeping it as a dress, why don't I chop it into 2 pieces? Because then I can mix and match this pattern that I love so much with other pieces in my wardrobe. I'm really not sure how this is going to go because I've never done anything like this before, at least not well. But I'm hoping I can just cut the bodice section off and re-hem it, and then also I would then gather the skirt a little bit. It is just a little bit too big for me at the moment if I was to leave it. Plus, you know, I'm a little bit bigger at the moment too, so I don't want it to be too big now and then I'll have to take it in again later. I mean, I can just do that again. And because I've got quite a bit of length on this skirt, I do like the longer length, but it does also give me the opportunity to possibly cut a little bit off to make a waistband to then gather the skirt around. So I can just take my waist measurement and make the skirt fit really nicely. I do also have some elastic somewhere that I can add if it needs it. I did think about possibly adding a lining. It is quite thin and a little bit scratchy. I'm also in a very humid and warm climate, so having a really thin garment to wear is probably for the better. I can always add a lining later, I guess. I would also like to go along and hem all of the edges that have just been left with this, I don't know what you call that, is it overlocked edge? Kind of like a funny loopy pattern. Anyway, I'd like to go along and hide all of that because it's kind of ugly. But I really like it and I don't want to get rid of it when there's nothing wrong with it, except for that little mark. I wore this the other day around the house. Yep. So I'll give this a wash first and then I will start measuring and chopping, I guess. Ooh, let's go. It's the next day because I washed the dress and then had to let it dry overnight. The plan now is to start chopping. Somehow managed managed to cut a piece off. The bodice and the skirt have been separated. I really want to add a waistband, so I think I'm going to take some measurements to see how much I need around the waist, cut a strip of fabric to turn into the waistband, and then gather the rest of the skirt around it. I pinned and unpinned it a million times, but I finally got to a point where I'm pretty happy with the spacing of the skirt. The excess that I deliberately left in the waistband, I have left folded over on the ends and bunched up the skirt a little bit there. I can decide to add a fastening, or I can just sew it together later, depending on how it goes. Because I'm impatient and don't want to do too much more fiddling with these pins, I'm going to just sew a 1 centimeter seam allowance around my waistband and see how it turns out. The skirt is now sewn to the waistband. You can see the little sort of gathers along there. I tried to not do a gather in the very front so that it will hopefully sort of flare out a little bit towards the sides. Because I've done the waistband this way, there was no other way to do it without there being a stitch visible unless I go through and hand sew right along this bottom edge. Maybe I should do that so that it looks really pretty. I don't think I'd be able to do it justice anyway, to be honest. No, I think I just have to leave it as it is.
filming again.
No, I didn't. There's been bloody construction work going on all day.
Yeah, that's
All day. They've just stopped now, they must be on lunch or something.
Are you filming right now?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. The waistband has now been sewn in place. It's gone a little bit ruffled, and I definitely expected that to happen because the fabric is not very easy to work with. Looks pretty cute. Last but not least is to add the fastenings to the back of the skirt. I'm hoping this will be really straightforward. I just want to add 2 little press studs either side of the waistband, and that should hopefully be enough to secure it. It also saves me doing a zip. So let's crack on. For the top, something I have thought about trying, and I think I actually might go for it, is actually moving where the sleeves are sitting, making them more of an upright sleeve versus a like on the shoulder sleeve. There is also one string in this like smocked ruching stuff that just pulls tighter than the rest, so I need to find which one that is and cut it off. I'm going to try it on and add a few pins to see where I might want to take it in. I've gone along and pinned one side of the top. I've also pinned a little extra in this seam on both sides to straighten up that sleeve so it sits a little bit more vertical. I've run out of pins, so I haven't pinned all of it, which I would have preferred to pin all of it in one go. But what I'll do is just start on one side, sew that, and then as I take a pin out, I can put it in the next spot. Moral of the story, I need to get more pins. So far it seems to be coming together. Now I'll go across the front and then pin and sew the back. I'm going to take the tag off because you actually can see where it's sewn in, which is poor form. Come on, come on. And then I'll try it on before I do the bottom hem, just to make sure I don't make it too short. This is how it's looking so far. It didn't pull up on the shoulders as much as I thought it would. I've already gathered this seam together and I thought that would be enough to sort of make it stay up, but it doesn't. I don't want to keep tightening it too much because then it will just start to dig in under here. I don't know if maybe just some elastic would do the trick. You know, I could chop the sleeve off completely and turn it into a strap. It is a crop top that sits off the shoulders, but it's not quite my neckline. Don't tell me. We're gonna cut the sleeves off? We have no idea what we're doing? Bring it on. Well, we've come this far. Now to do this on this side, and then I'll try it on again. Things didn't quite go to plan, but I am still happy with how the two-piece has turned out. I've actually had to turn it around the other way to wear it because where I cut the sleeves and reattached them, it just wouldn't sit right when I was wearing it. So this is actually the original attachment. So they don't sit far enough over to comfortably cover my bra strap, but at least they do stay on the shoulders more than they did, which was my biggest pet peeve with the way the dress had become shaped. It definitely was a lot more fiddly and had a lot more work to it than I expected. I really thought I could just go and sew it back in place. No, I didn't get the waistband as fitted as I hoped, but at the same time I guess it's more comfortable being a little bit looser, which allows me to still put it on without needing a zip. This was just a really awesome way to renew an old piece in my wardrobe rather than throwing it out and buying something new. I've given it a new life and can mix and match it with other things in my wardrobe to get even more wear out of it. Now I just want to do alterations on more garments. So stay tuned because I'm sure there'll be many more in the future. But in the meantime, you know the drill. Like a video to feed the creator for a day, subscribe to support them forever. Until next time, stay creative. New location. Warm and humid climate. Oh my god. Did that work? The plan now is to start murdering all these people out there. So what I think I'll do is I have to have all the lights on. Yeah.